JD Vance just fat-shamed his child, and the world is watching agog. Welcome to Occupy Democrats, I'm David Reddish. Vice presidents in the United States have a hard job in that nobody really knows what their job is. Apart from the occasional, or more recently, the frequent casting of tie-breaking votes in the Senate, and apart from showing up to big speeches and clapping at preordained times, it's not really clear what a vice president does. Just ask JD Vance. More on him in a moment. But maybe that's why so many vice presidents end up maligned in popular culture. Dan Quayle, vice president under George H.W. Bush, became fodder for endless jokes during Bush's sole term, especially after... You know what? We just gotta show this. It's a great moment from vice presidential history. Can we have a look?
Spell that again. And add one little bit on the end. Just think of potato. How's it? You write phonetically. What else? There you go.
I don't care what anybody says. That is still funny. And I'm a terrible speller, so I have every right to laugh at that. Other vice presidents have endured equal amounts of ridicule, though generally those moments aren't as funny. Remember when Dick Cheney went to Mississippi to tour Hurricane Katrina damage, and this happened?
Maybe hundreds of miles away, you've got problems in terms of the extent of which you can use public funds to go in and clean refuse and debris off private property. And so those kinds of issues need to get resolved, and those issues are being worked by FEMA as well as by state officials. So there are problems like that that need to be sorted out. You've got, as I was talking with the mayor, in those areas, one of the things you got to do is you've got to figure out what to do with all of the debris.
Are you getting a lot of that, Mr. Vice President?
And it's the first time I've heard it. It's a friend of John, or of, never mind.
In the case of Dick Cheney, who largely oversaw the George W. Bush administration's foreign policy and encouraged the use of torture against enemy combatants, it's important to remember he deserved that. As for JD Vance, the man often described as a racist Care Bear has already had to endure his own share of ridicule, and he's only been in office just shy of 2 months. Apart from keeping his lips vacuum-sealed to the pockmarked rump of Donald Trump and shouting down Volodymyr Zelensky in White House meetings, it's not entirely clear what he does. Maybe that's why his approval rating has hovered in the unfavorable territory since taking office. No doubt what happened today is not going to help him. Vance loves to portray himself as a simple family man. Of course, most simple, everyday men don't have their careers bankrolled by Catholic fascist billionaire Peter Thiel, but never mind. That's him on the right, in case you don't recognize him. Vance has credited Thiel with converting him to Catholicism. Comforting. In any case, today, JD Vance stopped into a diner with his family to show once again he's just an average guy. We're not sure the average label applies to anything other than his body type on a dating profile, but that's another story. While stopping at the diner, this happened.
Oh, I will.
Here, she's just sucked down a full day's serving of chocolate milk here. Is this our bill here?
Yes, it is.
Okay,
Here's
all right.
your
Now we
bill.
got a dozen cinnamon rolls, right?
Yes, that's
Okay, here.
There it is.
Great. I got it, actually, yeah. All right, now here's what we're going to do. Thank you. Oh, those are big cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, you just saw that. JD Vance managed to fat-shame his daughter before the eyes of the world. He didn't have a problem that his son was drinking just as much sugary chocolate milk as his daughter because, as we all know, girls have to be skinny and pretty. Men can be fat and man-boobed as long as they suck up to the right billionaires and land themselves in positions of power. If nothing else beyond putting Vance's parenting skills in the questionable category. And remember, it's not his fault that he didn't have the best examples. His mother had a drug problem, and his grandmother once set his grandfather on fire. Something that happens in every family, right? Apart from bringing his parenting skills into question, this clip should raise a few eyebrows, especially among women. Is it really how you want your elected officials to look at your gender? Girls have to deny themselves to stay thin and pretty even as young as 3 years old? And is it just me, or does Vance always look painfully uncomfortable anytime he has to interact with other human beings in a non-political setting? Look, this is just another example of how out of touch Trump and Vance are with everyday people and how their personal attitudes about women affect their policies. Do you think that a president that respected women would have appointed 3 Supreme Court justices to overturn Roe v. Wade? Of course not. But in Trump and Vance's America, women need to be young, pretty, and preferably bleach blonde to serve their political function. That also goes for women outside the administration as well. The sad thing? Body shame is the least shameful thing these corrupt morons bring to our nation. This is Occupy Democrats.